reliable,
President Mahama, who addressed a Debar of chiefs and people of
credible. Hello and good evening to you. It's News 360 is coming to you live from our news hub here at Desawe in Kanda. We're live on GhanaWeb.com, also on 3news.com, and on Facebook. Look out for TV3, that's 3news.com as well. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Let's get into the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Parliament in a lockdown over the debate on the bribery allegation.
And Deputy CEO of Ghana Cocoa Board says he is ready to take a pay cut following the recent public uproar against the salaries of top executives.
Also, the NDC says findings of the Kwesi Boshwe Committee will determine if the party will organize early National Congress.
And in business tonight, Universal Merchant Bank devotes $100 million seed money to support government's One District, One Factory initiative.
Details of these stories plus the latest in sports and entertainment in the next hour. Stay with us.
Let's go straight to our first story. Parliament is currently in a lockdown over debate on a bribery allegation. The House has begun the whole debate on the report after resuming from over almost 6 hours break now, and the chairman of that particular committee, the 5-member committee that was established by the Speaker of Parliament, that's John Jogat, member of Parliament for the Esikado Ketan constituency, is also there as presenting this particular report on the floor of Parliament, as you can see on your screens right now. So that is what the much awaited moment where the report has been laid.
Sorry, 3,000 cedis each. They assumed that that was the committee allowance. The Speaker, only later to hear this rumor that the money had come for Honorable Wacha Jaku. According to Honorable Samuel Ablakwa, upon hearing that, they decided to return the money to Honorable Mutaka, who happens to be on the 8th floor, I believe on the east wing. So if we study the CCTV, between 11 and 1, we will see a certain stream of people going in a convoy, going into Honorable Mutaka's office.
Honorable members, silence, order.
Going into Honorable Mutaka's office with envelopes. And that perhaps would have assisted us in our deliberations. Mr. Speaker, since it was CCTV, what we did was that we called 3 witnesses. Mr. Speaker, we called the acting marshal, Major Retired Asigri Bachanawe Chaga. We called Mrs. Shirley Ann Fiagome, Director of ICT. And we called Mr. Ernest Berrick, ICT officer. Mr. Speaker, we also paid an on-site visit to your CCTV control room. But in the process, the committee was given a detailed briefing on the workings of the surveillance cameras in Parliament. Mr. Speaker, Parliament recognizes that it is not all matters that should be discussed in public domain. Order 44 of the Standing Orders of Parliament prescribes the procedure to be followed where there is a matter which is in the interest of the public or in the interest of Parliament that it shouldn't be discussed. And Mr. Speaker, I would want to quote this part with your kind indulgence. It says, Mr. Speaker, may in consultation with the House, and having regard to the public interest, order the House to move into closed sitting to discuss a particular subject or for the remainder subject matter or for the remainder of the sitting. When the House is in closed sitting, no stranger shall be permitted to be present in the chamber, side lobbies, or galleries. Mr. Speaker may cause the proceedings and decisions of a closed sitting to be recorded or issued in such a manner as he thinks fit. No member, no person, other than a member or person acting through the authority of Mr. Speaker, shall keep a record or note of any proceedings or decision of a closed sitting, whether in part or in full. No person.
All right, so that's the chairman of the 5-member committee that was established by the Speaker of Parliament to look into the allegations leveled against some members of the Appointments Committee, including the chairman of that particular committee, the Honorable Joe Gatti, Member of Parliament for the Sikado-Ketan constituency, presenting the findings of that committee over the period which they've been sitting. We're going to be bringing you a lot more detail in our subsequent bulletins of exactly what's happening in Parliament as we speak on this particular issue.
Absolutely, Alfred. But meanwhile, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu has urged the Electoral Commission to improve their data collection system to enable it to declare results on time. He called on Parliament to come to a consensus as to whether election results should be announced either within 48 or 72 hours.
The Minority Leader made the statement when the House approved 33,827,268 cedis as budget estimate for the Electoral Commission.
Mr. Speaker, there was uneasiness even as the Commission attempted or wanted to declare the results. That should not be the case. And I think that they must improve their data collection system, and we must, as a country, decide that not later than 48 or 72 hours, the outcome of the presidential elections must be made known. In the world of technology, we should come to a consensus as a country as to the time period allowed for the declaration of the results. Subject to a final declaration, which the Constitution requires is to be gazetted, because for persons who may want to question the outcome of the elections, they would also be able to do so.
MP for Bantama Daniel Ochem Abuaje stressed the need for the EC to be adequately resourced.
We have to ensure that the EC is supported in ways that will make it very, very transparent and people can have confidence in whatever we do. I don't think Ghana as a country, when we are going for election, people must be worried about whether or not the outcome of the election is going to be accepted or not. We should take all measures necessary to ensure that we go for election in peace and come out in peace and make sure that we sustain the democracy that we have been able to achieve so far.
Let's move a bit away from Parliament. Now, Deputy Chief Executive of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Edu Ampoma, is saying that he's ready to take a pay cut following the recent public uproar against the huge salaries of top executives of that company. Speaking on the sidelines of a workshop by UTZ, a Cocoa Program Ghana, he said the move will save the country and Cocoa Board some money.
The new board chairman of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Hackman Owusu-Agyemang, announced plans to realign the salary structure at Cocoa Board. He said the more than 70,000 cedi gross salary of the Cocoa Board CEO is unsustainable due to the huge indebtedness of the company. Deputy Chief Executive of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Edu Ampoma, says he would welcome a pay cut.
Well, I've only been employed only 2 months and I've not even received anything. You know, it's a sacrifice.
The Secretary of Licensed Cocoa Buyers Association, Lawrence Eyisiboche, says there should be equitable distribution of benefits in the sector to impact the lives of hardworking cocoa farmers.
You talk about salaries of top executives. Yes, they may be receiving whatever, but how does it impact on the general operations of the board? But the point is this: are the farmers' remuneration adequate?
The UTZ Cocoa Program Ghana workshop was themed Achieving Sustainable Cocoa Production through Certification and Partnership.
Okay, so one of the reasons given is that the only time when such humongous amounts of money could be justified as payments to these heads of public sector institutions is when the performance of such institutions match the kind of figures we're hearing being paid those people. But that's what's not be the case. But I just want to give you a historical analysis of what exists across the world, a global worldview of what the Deputy Cocoa Board CEO is talking about, to the extent that he is going to receive, or he is willing to get a pay cut to ensure that Cocoa Board saves some money. This is not the first in this regard. This has been happening across the world. Mario Longhi is the CEO of the U.S. Steel Corporation. He decided to receive a 35% pay cut somewhere in the year 2015 as a struggling company failed to meet financial targets needed to justify cash incentives for its top executives. And this was in 2015. Now, if you look at the same situation as well, with respect to the CEO of the Gravity Payments, it's actually another company as well, where Dan Price decided to take a 90% pay cut, 90% pay cut, and slashed his company's profits to give employees a pay rise. Now, that is what he decided to do in this particular regard. Rather getting a 90% pay cut and also increasing the employee's salary. And the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, is also one who was giving that exemplary reference in this regard, receiving a pay cut in 2016 for missing performance targets in that particular year, because Apple did not meet the performance targets that is set for the year 2016, and so decided to take pay cuts to be able to match up for the loss that the company was making. So that is what's been happening globally.
Absolutely, and, very well, Alfred. It's not new. It's not a new phenomenon. It's not a new action. Hopefully, in this context, it will make good results.
Absolutely, performance. Absolutely. That's the only justification.
That's the justification. Very well. Now, the National Democratic Congress says findings of the Dr. Kwesi Bochwe 13-member committee will determine if the party will organize early National Congress or not. The party's communications director, Solomon Nkansa, pointed out the committee's report will be used to restructure aspects of the party's political strategies into the 2020 elections.
Article 21 of the NDC Constitution mandates the party to organize a national congress every 4 years to elect national officers. The party's constitution also makes room for a national congress within 24 months when the party is in opposition. But after the party's electoral defeat in last year's elections, some party members have been demanding an early congress.
When the committee comes out, and then we set up the reorganization committee, and then the reorganization committee also reorganize the system, and that the feedback that will come from the system will inform us that whether we should do an early congress internally to give room for a proper presidential primaries. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it.
The Dr. Kwesi Bochwe-led committee is expected to finish its investigations into the causes of the party's electoral defeat in April. The party's communications director made it clear the committee's final report will be made public.
Why must we make it public? Because it is going to be our strategic document. If we make it public, then you must as well forget about the next election. Because things that you did and you lost election, if you publish it, then your opponent who know what you did and you lost, and so they will be aware and they will plan for other things. But if you keep it to your chest and you work with it to the extent that it will be able to help you regain power.
Solomon Nkansa says the accusations and counter-accusations in the media by some members of the party are being dealt with by the party's leadership.
The immediate past presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, has challenged government to immediately crack down on all vigilante groups in the country. For him, the actions could destabilize the country if not checked.
Name them: Azoka Boys, Bolga Bulldogs, Invisible Forces or Delta Forces. They are all vigilante groups operating for some political party. Their actions in recent times has mainly been forcibly taking over state property in the name of protecting them. Immediate past presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, is worried over the trend.
Any activity by any group calling itself a vigilante must be seen as an activity that is an affront to the laws of the land. And so the law enforcement agencies have the right and they must act quickly to ensure that these so-called vigilantes, whether they come in the name of a party, in the name of the president, in the name of anybody, they are not representing anybody.
Last Friday, the group Delta Force stormed the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council to drive out the newly appointed Regional Security Coordinator, George Ajay. Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante described the actions as unfortunate and wants an executive ban.
Vigilantes should not stand on the way of the executive. And the executive must also crack the whip and make it clear to people who are going out in the name of the ruling party or of even the opposition, if others are doing that, and make them know that they are outlaws. They don't speak for them. They don't stand for them.
He also called on the security agencies in the country to arrest any person involved.
Government says it will, from the next quarter, cancel contracts and other commitments which do not have valid gift mix unique code. The unique code is expected to provide the Ministry of Finance an opportunity to track all contracts which will be signed by various ministries. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia disclosed this at a meeting with German businesses in Accra.
The lunch meeting encounter was to offer the Vice President the opportunity to interact with German businesses in Ghana. Deliberations also focused on streamlining how to improve operations and create a climate for German businesses to thrive. Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia assured government will tackle corruption in the public service to restore the confidence of German businesses. He re-emphasized government's commitment to set up a fiscal council and a financial stability council to check on public finances. He said in the next quarter, government will spearhead some amendments in financial law to tighten them. He hinted of government's decision to cancel contracts which will fail to have a unique code from the Ministry of Finance through the gift mix platform.
No contract will be valid without that unique ID code in the gift mix system. So that if you're a contractor and you have a contract, you should be able to check that that particular contract is in the gift mix. Otherwise, it will not be honored.
The Vice President again disclosed that in June this year, every procurement process will also be tracked through a unique code to be provided. He was disturbed about corruption at the port and promised new policy initiative.
In one of my surprise visits, I visited the port and I went to one of the terminals where you see every container goes through the scanner, but every container was also manually inspected after it has gone through the scanner. You don't understand it. The more automation we have, the better it will be for revenue generation and just efficiency.
German ambassador to Ghana, Christoph Reslav, assured their commitment to increasing their investments.
To conclude and sign so-called compacts with Africa. These compacts with Africa are open for each African country interested, but of course there are frontrunners that are in a way predestined to conclude these compacts with Africa, and I would, there's no secret, Mr. Vice President.
Other German business holders pleaded with the Vice President to reconsider the implementation of the Local Content Act.
Okay, let's go on to some other stories. The First Lady, Rebecca Ekufuado, has commended Uganda and Kenya for taking the lead in women representation in Parliament. Speaking at the African Women in Leadership Conference here in Accra, she conceded Ghana is woefully behind in women representation.
The African Women in Leadership Organization is a non-profit organization open to all women leaders across Africa and women of African descent. The organization also seeks to advance the status of women in leadership by creating an empowering platform and harnessing the synergies of the alliance. The annual conference provides a platform for women from all walks of life within the African continent to come together advance the status of women.
We all have a voice. We need to be heard. We need to overcome our fears, insecurities, and stereotypes that hold us back. Therein lies our power to inspire others to greatness. In making this year's United Nations International Women's Day, the world heard the echoes of the theme, "Be bold for change," on every lips. It was a call that struck deep inside my heart. I realized then that greatness is actually a possibility that is fully explored.
First Lady Rebecca Kufuor urged women to be hardworking. She acknowledged the contribution of Ghanaian women in politics, but added the number is inadequate.
It is heartwarming to know that Kenya and Rwanda are making great strides with a high number of women parliamentarians. In the last elections here in Ghana, it was a delight to see the quality of women who were elected members of parliament. I am the first to concede, however, that in terms of numbers, we are woefully behind a country like Rwanda.
For the next 3 days, the conference will dialogue on issues on women, as well as equip themselves and share experiences to inspire the world.
Away from issues of women representation, an Accra Human Rights Court has ordered the police not to search seized electronic gadgets of any individual without a court order. The court has therefore charged the police to return a laptop computer and mobile phone of a suspect under trial at a circuit court to the registrar pending completion of the trial.
The order by the court, presided over by Justice Anthony Yeboah, followed a suit challenging the powers of the police to seize and search the electronic gadgets of persons without first getting orders from the court. The suit filed by one Edmond Ado challenged the way the police subjected his laptop computer to a search without his consent. Delivering his judgment, Justice Anthony Yeboah said taking custody of a person's electronic gadget and subjecting it to a search without a court order is tantamount to a breach of the fundamental human rights and an interference with the person's right to privacy. Justice Yeboah added the search by the police could also result in tampering with evidence that could affect the ruling. Lead counsel for the applicant, Justice Shrimsai, said the release granted his client will go a long way to help prevent the abuse of the privacy of communication gadget users. Legal practitioners described the case as a novelty.
You're watching News 360. This bulletin is live on GhanaWeb.com as well as News on TV3 on Facebook. We return shortly with the very latest from the world of business. Stay with us.
Breaking news. All are reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible.
Hello and good evening to you. It's News 360 is coming to you live from our news hub here at Desawe in Kanda. We're live on GhanaWeb.com, also on 3news.com and on Facebook. Look out for TV3, that's 3news.com as well. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Let's get into the headlines for the next 1 hour.
Reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible.
Hello and good evening to you. It's News 360 is coming to you live from our news hub here at Desawe in Kanda. We're live on GhanaWeb.com, also on 3news.com, and on Facebook. Look out for TV3, that's 3news.com as well. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Let's get into the headlines for the next 1 hour.
Reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Debar of chiefs and people of
credible. Hello and good evening to you. It's News 360 is coming to you live from our news hub here at Desawe in Kanda. We're live on GhanaWeb.com, also on 3news.com, and on Facebook. Look out for TV3, that's 3news.com as well. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Let's get into the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Parliament in a lockdown over the debate on the bribery allegation.
And Deputy CEO of Ghana Cocoa Board says he is ready to take a pay cut following the recent public uproar against the salaries of top executives.
Also, the NDC says findings of the Kwesi Boshwe Committee will determine if the party will organize early National Congress.
And in business tonight, Universal Merchant Bank devotes $100 million seed money to support government's One District, One Factory initiative.
Details of these stories, plus the latest in sports and entertainment in the next hour. Stay with us.
Let's go straight to our first story. Parliament is currently in a lockdown over debate on a bribery allegation. The House has begun the whole debate on the report after
institutions which support small-scale enterprises. Chairperson of the bank, Betty Zomelo, said the bank aligns its vision with government One District, One Factory initiative, thus the proposition.
As we heard your vision and as we saw it expanded in the budget, we believe that we can actually support that. UMB has a long history of SMEs, supporting SMEs. I think that in partnering with you, we would actually support your government to achieve its objectives, and we would also make some money in the process and be more successful.
Chief Executive Officer of the bank, John Ewa, was confident the initiative will effectively address the unemployment challenges in the country.
With this initiative, and to be the bank of choice when it comes to any enterprise that decides to partner or take part or be a participant in the initiative of One District, One Factory. To this end, as an institution, we have devoted up to $100 million, which we will be using as a seed to assist in all the various companies, enterprises, entrepreneurs that will approach the ministry, go through our own processes, and we will assist per enterprise up to $1 million in assisting in their setup.
President Akufo-Addo, who was elated about the initiative, insisted government is open to work with the private sector to create jobs.
Mostly important is how we in government and you in the private sector can work together in a very transparent and productive manner to bring some of an initiative like this to fruition. That is extremely important. Our main concern is establishing the policy, providing the regulatory framework, and also doing our best to control the business environment in the country. We can looking at reducing interest rates in our country, stabilizing our currency, improving our tax revenue collection system. These are the responsibilities of government. We're not interested in competing with you in this business.
Well, meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of the Universal Merchants Bank, John Ewa, is confident the partnership with government will improve local business to enhance the economy.
The President's vision of one district, one factory fits directly into our long-term plan. So when we heard of the one district, one factory, we just said this is rather an opportune time to just tap into the strategy and bring forward a few of the pillars that we had said would come in the course of time, so we can properly position the institution and also to facilitate the government's agenda of ensuring the success of this program. Per project, it's going to be up to $1 million. And we want to have a few initial projects, and as any other project appraisal, after a few steps, you step back and analyze how you are fared on the delivery of that project. But I can assure you that it's a plan that is well thought through, and as an institution and as a bank, UMB is 100% ready to start this as soon as we are very clear on the government side the way forward. We are a financial intermediary. Government is providing the framework, the environment, and all the ammunitions to make sure this happens. And then there are private sector interests that will be coming in. So we are not directly going to get involved in setting up companies, but we are going to assess on application by private sector entities that are interested in going into this arrangement of government to ensure that the president's vision comes to fruition.
Right, let's still stay with the banking sector, and the biggest developing story at Ghana's central bank has to do with the governor's resignation. And talking about the governor, I'm referring to Dr. Isahaku. They're being appointed in April 2016 by former President John Dramani Mahama and an international development economist, a former second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, before he ascended to the governorship position. And of course, he replaced Dr. Kofi Wampan. He resigned on 29th of March 2017. And this resignation, we understand, takes effect from April 1. So that is it. Dr. Isahaku has resigned from his post 3 years to the end of his tenure. But this action, some analysts have described as forthcoming, considering recent debates on whether he should exit or not. Industry players have, however, lauded his works despite his short stint. Opinions were divided over whether the immediate past governor of the central bank, Dr. Abdul Nashiru Isahaku, should serve his full term following the electoral victory of the MPP. But the outgoing governor has attributed his exit to personal reasons. Some players in the banking industry have lauded key decisions by Dr. Isahaku's administration, although they describe the term as relatively short.
He's leaving with quite a few achievements. For the first time in the history of banking in Ghana, we have an act which protects depositors, as the Deposit Protection Act. Now, this ensures that people who save with banking institutions, if something goes wrong, are protected up to a certain maximum. On a very, very positive note, last Monday, he had a reduction of 2% on the interest rate that the MPC uses as a policy rate. That was also good. Inflation is coming down whilst he's leaving. So put them all together. He's been in position just over a year or so. He's done what he could, and Ghana will be grateful to him.
Right, now let's look at the implications of his... Dr. Nashiru Isahaku recently came under fire for approving a 4.6 billion cedi contract to allow a company, Sifton Switch System, to execute mobile money interoperability, of which the central bank later put on hold. His last official duty was at the Monetary Policy Committee briefing when he announced a reduction in the policy rate to 23.5%.
But having assessed the balance of risk now to both inflation and growth, we realized that it was most appropriate to come down by 200 basis points.
Before his governorship, Dr. Isahaku was the second deputy governor and executive board member with oversight responsibilities in 9 departments, including economics, statistics, finance, legal, banking supervision, and financial stability. He was the 14th governor, and his resignation takes effect from April 1, 2017. Right, so after April 1, who is the next governor of the Bank of Ghana? 3 names coming up: Kelly Gajekpo, co-founder Data Bank; Dr. Ernest Addison, former head of research, Bank of Ghana; and Frank Edu, managing director of Cal Bank. These are the 3 names popping up next. Who takes over? So let's look at that. Kelly Gajekpo is the former co-founder of investment bank Data Bank, and Dr. Ernest Addison is also former head of research, as I stated earlier. Who becomes the next governor among the 3? A co-founder of investment bank Data Bank, Kelly Gajekpo, and brother of popular lawyer Philip Addison, Dr. Ernest Addison, are in contention for the now vacant position of the governor of the central bank. According to TV3 business sources, there is a seeming split of support at the presidency for both individuals for the top job. But another name that has been joined to the pair is current managing director of Cal Bank, Frank Edu. Mr. Gajekpo is currently head of the enterprise group. Dr. Addison, on the other hand, was a former head of research at the Bank of Ghana, but currently works with the African Development Bank. Frank Braco Edu Jr. is an investment banker and the managing director of Cal Bank. He was the chairman of the Council of the Ghana Stock Exchange and the GSC Securities Depository Company. It is unclear who the finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, favors for the position, even though he co-founded the successful Data Bank with Mr. Gajekpo. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Abdul Mashiru Isahaku, resigned from the bank on Wednesday. One reason for leaving office was said to be government's policy direction, which conflicts with his. This means whoever takes the position must consider the political ideology of the ruling government. Well, I saw 3 speculative names. Who becomes the next governor? We'll be monitoring that particular one and giving you that information. But that will do from us here on the business field. My name is Nanika Mensah. We're back now to Alfred and Natalie.
Big announcement, but we'll be back with some more news after this. Stay with us.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Who wins the best DJ of the year? You have the power to vote for your favorite DJ by texting BDJ, followed by the name of your favorite DJ to the short code 1736 on all networks. Week at the Silver Star Tower on Saturday, the 6th of May. And brought to you proudly by Ghana's favorite energy drink, Rush Energy, non-stop. Rush Ghana DJ Awards, united by music.
Go DJ, go DJ, go DJ.
When they flip and roll and start to crawl away, tape diapers can be hard to put on and can come loose. Then it's time for Pampers Pants with all-around fit. They're easy to pull on, even when they're moving around, for a great fit and up to 12 hours of dryness. When they start to crawl, you know it's time for Pampers Pants.
Pampers Pants, now available in a pack of 2 pants for only 2 Ghana cedis.
Bring me a real beer.
Only one beer did my mind top. No other flavors or sugar. Just real maize, real barley, real hops.
Hey. I've tasted different kinds of beer around the world. But start, yeah, it tastes to me a 10 over 10.
Welcome back to News 360. Some other stories now. A Southern African Navy ship has docked at the Tema ports to participate in the centenary commemoration of the sinking of the SS Mendi, a South African troop ship in the United Kingdom. The 180 crew member will also take part in other activities with the Ghanaian Navy.
The South African ship Amatola-class frigate arrived at the anchorage of the Tema port and was led to berth at 7 in the morning.
We are glad to have a South African ship in our waters. It just berthed a while ago, and there were a series of activities that were done here to receive the ship. They are going to be in our Ghanaian waters for 3 days. But we have with us Colonel Patient Masise. She will just throw more light onto what the crew are here in Ghana to do.
The SAS Amatola crew is here in Ghana to strengthen the military-to-military cooperation. Navy to Navy military cooperation. We are going to have a social upliftment program whereby we are going to host about 80 school learners in Tema will come on board of the ship, and then they will tour the ship.
The crew will also participate in the commemoration of the sinking of the SS Mendi ship. The South African High Commissioner to Ghana, Lulama Ngwana, who received the captain and 8 crew members of the ship, shed more light on the SS Mendi ship.
The SS Mendi was a South African ship that left South Africa to go and support the World War I in the United Kingdom and France. It was hit by another ship in the English Channel south of the Isle of Wight, and it sank.
Carrying well over 800 servicemen, majority of whom were black South Africans, the SS Mendi ship was struck by another South African vessel, the SS Darrow, in the morning of February 21, 1917. 607 of them black troops and 30 crew died at sea on the SS Mendi final voyage. Captain of the South African ship Amatola frigate says the visit would help deepen bilateral relations with the Ghanaian Navy.
The weekend primarily is focused towards diplomatic visits. We're going to do a bit of community work with some children on Saturday, and then hopefully we can set up some exercises with the Ghanaian Navy for Monday before we depart for our next port of call is Equatorial Guinea.
The High Commissioner and her delegation also paid a courtesy call on the flag officer commanding the Eastern Naval Command, Commodore Eric Edu. The two commanders exchanged gifts. Josephine Frempon, TV3, Tema.
All right, from Tema, let's get into the world of sports now. Terry Nyan is here with the latest. It's good to have you here. What's the latest with the vacant Black Stars coach job?
Well, there's been some developments. One of the candidates, the final 3, remember we had Kwesi Appiah, the local, among the other, 2, and then we also had Willie Sagnol and, the other Hugo Bruce. He actually won the African Cup of Nations with Cameroon last 2 months. Right. But the former being Willie Sagnol, the former French international, he's arriving in the country for the interview that starts tomorrow. So we'll bring you the developments on that. But let's start with that particular one. And one of the candidates for the vacant Black Stars head coach position, Willie Sagnol, is scheduled to arrive in Ghana today for an interview with the Ghana Football Association regarding the vacant Black Stars coaching job. The former French international will be meeting the Ghana Coaching Search Committee on Friday for the interview. The 40-year-old has previously coached the France under-21s and Ligue 1 side Girondins de Bordeaux. The Football Association instituted a 6-man search committee led by its president, Kwesi Nyantakyi, which attracted a reported 132 applications after a 10-day period. According to the sources, the committee intends to complete the interviews with the 3 coaches, Kwesi Kwesi Appiah, Hugo Bruce and Willie Sanyor by Sunday, April 2, after which it will submit its final report on a preferred coach for the Black Stars to the Executive Committee for approval. All right, now, so away from that story, let's do some continental news relating to the World Cup. Now, it has become a bit more official than before. The African continent will be given 9 slots in the 2026 World Cup, the second most among all 6 continental federations. FIFA has revealed its plans for how the 48 places will be allocated, with 16 European teams set to qualify. Asia will have 8 nations at the tournament, while South Africa will produce 6 nations. Football's world governing body is proposing a 6-nation playoff tournament to decide the last 2 sports at the 48-team World Cup in 2026. The recommendations will be voted on by the FIFA Council at its next meeting on May 9. FIFA members voted in January to expand the World Cup from 32 to 48 teams, starting with the 2026 editions. And that's exactly how it's going to look. So for Confederation of African Football, we are going to be having 9, and that's the second largest number at the World Cup from 2026. And UEFA, that is the European Federation, will be having their 16 teams in there. A significant rise from the 13 they do have at the moment. And in CONMEBOL, we'll also have 6, the same number as CONCACAF. And then OFC, that's Oceanic, will have just 1 representative. And Asia will have 8 in that particular one. So some very good expansion in there for the various continents. Now, still in football, there is so much pressure on Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger to leave the club, with placards, banners and chants characterizing angry fans' reactions. The Frenchman has a message for the fans. He says his Arsenal future is not sorted completely, but has his mind made up on what exactly he's going to do after the summer.
Not today, but I'm very clear in my mind. But anyway, do I stay 2 months or 2 years? My commitment will be exactly the same. So the time I spent here does not influence at all my attitude. I've always been very clear in my mind, you know, and I will remain like that. But I think it's a subject that at the moment is not sorted completely out.
All right, so away from football now, let's do some National Basketball Association. It's not so easy to light up a very competitive tournament as the NBA. But this season, Oklahoma City Thunder's Russell Westbrook has been in Paris, making the highest scoring triple-double in NBA history. His side's head coach, Billy Donovan, excited at Westbrook's exploits this season.
We gave ourselves a chance, and then obviously Russell was spectacular coming down the stretch with the way he closed the game in regulation and what he did in overtime. It's a competitive group that's got a great spirit, but I think the thing that I've been talking about all year long is, you know, can we play with a level of consistency, you know, and concentration and focus for really long stretches. We've shown signs to do it, but we just got to keep working to get better and better at it. He had some turnovers there in that first quarter, and I think even at halftime, felt like there was more that he needed to do from a leadership standpoint and just kind of encouraging the guys. And, you know, I thought he played an exceptional second half. He never believes that he's ever out of it or we're ever out of it. And he plays with an incredible competitive spirit. He just plays with an unbelievable spirit all the time. And
Westbrook launching it, drills it for 3.
And that's exactly how we earned today's sports bulletin right here on News 360. With me, Thierry Nyan. We'll bring you some more sports news, continuing tomorrow. So keep watching TV3 and enjoy the rest of the night.
The Gillette Blue 2 has a water-activated Lubristrip, giving you a clean shave with fewer nicks and cuts. Upgrade to Gillette Blue 2. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Great taste! We now use peak milk in this family with its new pea cream. And the low cholesterol is good for me. See?
New Peak Green. Great taste, low cholesterol.
This is not just a pitch. This is where I found my inspiration. This is where I learned I can stand on my own. But that together we can fly. This is the school of life. This is where champions are made.
Nestle, good food, good life.
Milo with Active Go blends Protomalt, vitamins and minerals with milk and cocoa for your child's winning energy.
Today, Ariel will show you how to save more in these tough times.
Why this powder? It's pretty good and money's tight. But Ariel gives better cleaning with less powder. Impossible. Come with me.
Spaghetti sauce, chocolate drink.
For these tough stains, I'll need 1, 2, and just 1 handful of Ariel. New Ariel gives better stain removal with less powder.
That's real savings. Ariel removes tough stains better in 1 wash.
Welcome back. Let's now go for some international news.
17 people have been arrested after a protest at Stansford Airport in Essex temporarily halted takeoffs and landings on Tuesday night. Those involved were trying to stop a charter flight which they claim was due to deport people to Nigeria and Ghana. Essex police say officers were at the scene and had helped in the process of removing protesters from the aircraft, which was destined for Nigeria. In total, 23 incoming flights were diverted to other airports, including scheduled arrivals from Naples, Cologne, Glasgow, Riga, Belfast and Bilbao. Ivory Coast has slashed the domestic price it guarantees for cocoa farmers by almost 40%. This means the government will pay 700 CFA francs per kilogram instead of 1,100 CFA francs. The government also reduced taxes for the April to September mid-crop to encourage buying. A government spokesman said in addition to encouraging purchasing, the government will also eliminate a 5% registration tax paid by exporters and reduce a number of similar smaller levies for the mid-crop. Malaysia's Prime Minister Najib Razak says the body of Kim Jong-nam, half-brother of North Korea's leader, has been released to the communist country. He further said 9 Malaysians detained in North Korea have also been released and are on their way home. North Korean citizens in Kuala Lumpur will also be allowed to return home, thus ending 6 weeks diplomatic rule between the two countries.
There's more international news on our website, 3news.com. We'll return with the very latest from the world of entertainment. Stay with us.
Nestle Delicious Challenge. My mom
versus my mom.
The mother-in-laws, eh? What will you make?
My son's favorite cake.
Hey!
And one is a woody butter, nkosia vanilla, any a sugar flour book simu, fried milk gumu. Fra some baking powder, in chika craft flour bowl from. Not coming now fra. Afe baking. Never chocolate icing gusu.
Your son stole my daughter. I want to baby a mama cake recipe. But mama updates model with special coconut icing. I'm a mama daughter. As a both of you, yeah. This just shows the two of you were meant to be. Both recipes are easy to prepare and a good source of calcium and protein. Go on, flash us for more recipes to try at home.
Nestle, good food, good life.
I beg, bring Mary over here. Only one beer day my mind top. No other flavors or sugar. Just real maize, real barley, real hops.
I have tasted different kinds of beer around the world. But start, you tasted me a 10 over 10.
Names? I'm Divine.
She never looks back,
But not on those days.
I'm Vanessa. She likes to move it, move it.
But not on those days.
Today, no more worries with Always Ultra. It gives you 3 times better dryness for up to 8 hours of protection. No stain, no check. I'm in a no check mode, no check mode. I'm on how always. I'm unstoppable. Stay happy always. Now starting at 4 Ghana City, 50 pesos.
Enjoy Fanyogo Mango and Passion, a delicious blend of 2 exciting flavors in a bigger pack for longer lasting refreshment. Try it now for 1 cedi 50 pesos from Fan Milk.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
In entertainment news this evening, his deep love for photography inspired him to capture golden moments of Ghana's history, culture, key personalities, and events. At age 87, his memorable collections fill the shelves of famous museums, highlighting Ghana's history to the world. Here is a retrospect of the life and career achievements of iconic Ghanaian photographer James Barno.
I feel honored to be born at the time that things were happening. The very first camera, called Baby Brownie, was given to me by one of my teachers. While using it, I changed into a box camera, so one thing led to another. But the thing is that you've got to know your camera. It's not so much the camera that does the work for you. You are the photographer. You know what to take. You point your camera and use the technique that you know how to make the camera work for you.
Born in 1929, James Barno did a yeoman's job in his youthful age, capturing moments that preceded Ghana's independence. He has remarkable collections to show for his years of experience.
Everybody do what you do, smile will bring the sunshine day.
Driven by passion, he documented the lives of the main actors in Ghana's struggle for freedom.
Let's talk about Kwame Nkrumah. Did you cover him for a long time?
Even when he first came out of prison, I got 2 or 3 shots of him, developed and started selling them at Makola Market straight away. I was close to them and I knew how to, say, please, can I? And I could ask Nano Furiata to pose for a picture before, and I've got one like that. I can ask Pawili, to pose with somebody, Dankwa.
The later years saw him move to London to deepen his photography knowledge. The famous Drum magazine of the 60s, which he later worked for, described him as an ambitious chap.
I happened to photograph Muhammad Ali again through the assignment for Drum. And that has made me, because photographing the greatest, it makes you, noticed.
With the help of the British agency Autograph ABP, James's artwork have been shown all over the world.
And I was introduced to them by somebody who curated my work for an exhibition, and they thought, we've got hit on gold. And they started projecting. The first exhibition was at Harvard University. The very first exhibition, yes, that the agency did. And then they made another exhibition in London. So that more or less set off and things started. I feel honored to be born at the time that things were happening. And I was lucky that I was in photography and recorded the thing. And best of all, that I kept the records, or I kept the negatives, which today are showing some of Ghana's history.
The home of British Art, Tate Britain exhibitions, Victoria and Albert museums have welcomed James Bannell's works. The Heritage and Culture Society of Africa, HACSA, are currently exhibiting his collection at the Movenpick Hotel to mark Ghana's 60th anniversary.
And I'm pleased to be playing part in the 60th anniversary of the country.
Everybody do what you do.
It's a beautiful work. I'm happy that
pick up a camera and photograph.
It's been preserved over the period and not decaying, as we saw in that story yesterday by Kwabena Dujemfi. But that's it for the news tonight. It was live on GhanaWeb.com all across the world, also live on 3news.com and on News on TV3 on Facebook. My name is Alfred Concept.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Next we have Do Not Love Me So Much. Stay with TV3. Enjoy the rest of your evening.